All right, welcome to today's show. Today's show is all about Wirecast. I hope you watched the pre-show. We're talking a little bit esports with our special guest today. But before we get to our special guest, I just want to talk about the big news from Wirecast. And what is that? New release, new features. Wirecast 10 is now out. But what I think is so cool about Wirecast 10 is if you buy Wirecast 10 today, it includes a year of support. And in that year, they've committed to launch Wirecast 11. So if you buy Wirecast 10 today, you're going to get Wirecast 11 for free. And that's super cool. Wirecast, will remind you, there's two different flavors. There's the Studio, which is $6.95, and there's the Pro, which is $9.95. One of the things I really like about the Pro is it gives you ISO recording, it gives you full NDI capability, and it's got a better audio feature set too. But it's very cool. Studio on the basic side. I really think for the extra $300, you're really better off getting Wirecast Pro if you can. Wirecast runs on PC and Mac, laptop or desktop. Great program. Once again, you will get Wirecast 11 for free if you buy Wirecast 10 today. Let's talk about some of the great upgrade programs they go. Wirecast reduced the price of their upgrades dramatically. If you've got an older version of Wirecast, you've got to upgrade, folks. For $199, you can take Studio 4 or 7 up to Wirecast Studio. For $249, if you're on Wirecast Studio, older version, you could take it all the way up to 10, which gets you 11. But the biggest deal, that's the coolest thing, for $299 if you're on Studio, not only can you upgrade to Pro, but you're going to get Pro 10 and Pro 11. So these upgrade programs are priced at a price that you just gotta get on the new versions. The other reason I want you on the new versions is something that we're going to talk about a little later in the show, and that is it's getting harder and harder for these streaming companies to keep the older versions compatible with the new things that are happening in streaming. It's changing so much, streaming and live production. So you really owe it to yourself to get yourself on the latest version, because that's the only way you're going to be taking advantage of all the cool features that are coming. And some of these features that seem like cool, kind of why do I want them now features are going to be necessities you have to have in the future. So speaking of the future, speaking of Wirecast, let's bring our special guest in, Andrew Eally, Product Marketing Manager at Telestream. He's going to come in. I'm going to wait till we get the full move going so you can see what we did with the virtual set today. We think this is really cool, the way we have the layout going. Hey, Andrew, how's it going?
Hey, good. Good to see you again, Gary.
So we want to talk about new features, and one of the first new features I want to talk about is Facebook improvements. Facebook has this habit of changing their SDK whenever they feel like they want to change it. And what happens is when they make those changes, their API, they break a lot of stuff that's going on. About 2 weeks ago, they made a move that broke a lot of older streaming software. Now, newer versions were okay, and if you're on the newer version, you can get a security upgrade, a quick little upgrade to fix it. But if you're on the older version, you kind of got strung out. So one of the main things we want to talk about is if you're doing social media streaming, you really want to get on the latest version of Wirecast or whatever software you're using, because Facebook and YouTube and these other companies, they make the rules and they break the rules and they break the product sometimes when they come out with a new feature. Now the guys are quick, they get right on it. The folks at Wirecast jumped right on it and put out a bulletin, got an alert out, and they got it taken care of. But the bottom line is social media streaming requires you to be on the latest version of stuff. So let's talk about some of the improved Facebook integration that's in Wirecast 10. Andrew, take it away.
Yeah, so Facebook has announced for a while now that because of the Cambridge Analytica thing and the way that they originally designed their live APIs, that they did it wrong. So they're going to come back out and tighten up the security and do a lot of changes to the live APIs, which would basically only work with newer versions and companies that implemented the latest standards of the API. Going back, I was going to break all the existing ones, and we've been integrating with Facebook since 2016. So it's, obviously there's a lot of Wirecast out there that integrates with Facebook that's no longer going to work. So it was really obviously something that Facebook, a decision they needed to make, I think for the better, honestly, but it does mean that if you're stuck on older versions, then you really need to update to the latest version in order for your Facebook integrations and all those cool tools that we've built into Wirecast to work. So And that brings us to kind of this latest version that we're just releasing. So Wirecast 10 is going to be available. Actually, we're technically supposed to release today. I think you'll just have to stay tuned. I think we actually haven't put it up on the website yet, so we're a little early here talking about it. But basically, today's the day. And when it's out, and there's actually a beta you can find on our forum, so you can preview this feature now if you're really anxious, you don't want to wait. It's called live cross-posting. So this is an amazing way to double your impact for your Facebook live streams. If you have a relationship, your page has a relationships that key important strategic partnerships or marketing partners or just friends that you want to stream the same content to on their pages, then you can now do that if you've set up those relationships. And you can do that in your page settings under cross-posting, and you just give permission to certain pages to live cross-post their streams. What this means is that if they stream live to their page, they can check a box and stream to your page at the same time. You don't have to duplicate the stream. You don't have to stream it twice. You don't even have to share it out to your page. It automatically goes live on your page just like it goes live on their page. And this really extends the possibility of your reach and grows your audience. And now your audience doesn't have to necessarily go outside their normal channels to catch your content.
Now, one of the questions we have on that is that means pages. So that's like company pages or a person's individual page. It doesn't mean groups, right? They're still not letting you do that with groups, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds right. I'm not sure. I've not looked into it enough as to where they've limited and restricted cross-posting. I've only ever seen them mention it in relation to pages. So as far as I'm concerned, I think it's just pages. But that may change, and it may have already changed.
Cool. And one of our viewers, Larry Mitchell, has already updated to Wirecast 10. So good for you, buddy. Way to go. Let's talk about the improved audio support, if we could, now inside Wirecast 10, Andrew.
Yeah, so Wirecast 8, 9, 10, I mean, we've really made a huge, huge effort to make the audio one of the most professional, features in the software. So we started with multi-track audio. We redesigned the audio mixer. We added live effects and and audio filters. And now with this latest version, we've improved the bass pipeline for audio. So we've bumped it up from 44 kilohertz to 48 kilohertz, which makes it more compatible with the common formats on audio devices, audio interfaces. So basically, you can take a high sample rate in, and you can get a high quality audio in, render it, and then output it at 48 all the way through. In prior versions of Wirecast, this wasn't possible. So we're excited to bring that feature. It's something we've been wanting to do for a while, and now it's just only going to improve the overall results and quality of your audio.
Very cool. And then another new feature that we're really excited about is Ptz Camera Control. Now, I have a Ptz optics camera right here, and Wirecast has always worked with a Ptz camera. You could always take the output into Wirecast via, a card that had SDI HDMI or an HDMI or an SDI converter. But what you couldn't do was you couldn't control the Ptz cameras from within Wirecast. And that's what's really cool, and that's what's new, and that's what you guys have added with Wirecast 10. So before I get to you, Andrew, I want to roll a little video because we knew this was coming. So we, together with Wirecast, sponsored a video where Paul from Streaming Media showed us how to use a Ptz camera with Wirecast for a sport. So here's a little clip from that video, which you can watch in its entirety from the Videoguys or Streaming Media websites.
You can set up visual presets for each camera. Wirecast offers 3 unique Ptz camera control options. Once connected over IP, users can choose from the D-pad, the analog map, and a 2D map. The D-pad features simplistic controls for up, down, left, and right, which is also available on any connected keyboard with D-pad keys. The analog map allows users to click and drag for 360-degree camera controls like a physical joystick. Finally, the 2D map allows users to see the entire Ptz Optics camera spectrum of control and click exactly where they want the camera to go at any given point. Now you can simply click on a picture of where you want the camera to go directly in Wirecast.
Cool. Andrew, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, so we actually announced this back in April, May, around the NAB timeframe. Yep. We previewed it at NAB, and then we rolled it out with Wirecast 9, which was right around that timeframe. And here we are just a few months later. It's been in there for a while. We've already implemented version 2 of the controls and just refined some of the ways we've implemented that from that first version of it. But so far the feedback's been great. This, I think, is one of the best built-in Ptz control schemes inside live streaming software available right now. So you really, it was designed from the ground up to make it super easy and convenient. It's an awesome, awesome controller, and I love using it with the Ptz Optics cameras.
Very cool. And PTZ Optics, good friend of ours. You know, we've done some shows on them. If you're looking to get Wirecast or Wirecast gear with some PTZ cameras, PTZ Optics, our team is here to help you put together the right budget, the right products for whatever you need. We'll get more onto bundled stuff in a little bit, but first I want to talk about two features that are technology preview features. The first is Wirecast Live Captions. Tell us about that, Andrew.
Yeah, so Wirecast Live Captions is just out today, or when Wirecast 10 hits the market. You can already check it out in the beta version, but with Wirecast 10, it's now going to be, fully integrated. What we're doing is we're releasing it as a technology preview in this version. So that basically means that you have full access to the feature, and it's free. You have 5,000 minutes to test and try with your live streams. I'll be doing some videos and some tutorials, and I already did a live stream on this a few weeks back on how to use it. But basically, it's as simple as signing up for a free account at Telestream Cloud. And you can do that at Telestream Cloud, or you can do it inside Wirecast 10. It's really easy. You just sign up, create a password with your email address, super simple. And once you are signed in inside Wirecast 10, there's a new box in the corner of the output settings where you've traditionally added your Facebook, YouTube, your recordings to disk, all of that. You'll see a Telestream Cloud settings box, and that is where the magic happens. If you're logged in inside there, then you can check a box called Enable Live Captions, and now Wirecast will send your audio to an AI sort of cloud computer and server system with automatic speech recognition, and it will listen to the audio and return automatic captions, live captioning for your stream. And it can do this in 5 languages right now, and we'll be adding more languages. And then what's really cool is Telestream's already won an Emmy for its captioning technology, so we know how to do captions and proper formatting. So we have then taken those captions and we've properly formatted them and embedded them within your RTMP streams, which can then go out wherever you want to send them using our new Restream service, which we'll talk about in just a second. So once the captions are in there, you can send them wherever you want, and they're automatically embedded. And then players or web platforms that accept captions will be able to not only see them and recognize them, but now your viewers can automatically enable them or turn them on in the players that allow that. And most players these days do, particularly on YouTube and Facebook. But it's really exciting. It's an easy checkbox that you just add, and now suddenly you have more accessibility to your streams from deaf and hard of hearing or places where you may need captions.
That's great, and you hinted to the Restream product, which we get to, but I want to talk about something because you barely touched on it, but you said AI. I think one of the things that's happening in our industry as a whole, Avid's doing it with post-production, you guys are doing it with live production, is we're building this artificial intelligence in the cloud where there's just unlimited computing power. And what's happening is we're able to deliver certain real-time features and real-time tools to us who are producing video, either in post-production, pre-production, or live production. That's just real incredible. So basically, you guys have been winning awards for your closed captioning technology. Now you're bringing it to the cloud where Wirecast users can now tap into that. And that is just a tremendous thing. It's just the tip of the iceberg on what we're going to see over the next year. I can't even imagine where that cloud's going to go for you guys. So we're all going to be kind of hybrid in the cloud, whether we realize it or not, because the companies who make the tools we use are taking us there, and they're just unleashing this computer power that AI brings. It's just real amazing and really cool. So kudos to Telestream and the Wirecast gang on that. Now let's talk about Restream a little bit, because that's another cool use of the cloud. That's how we use the cloud to take one stream up from our facility, so you don't need a huge pipe, but that stream can then get sent to multiple CDNs through the cloud, which takes the overhead off of me as the person where I am in the field, which is real important because we've seen that with other products we sell like Livestream and other people who do that. But this is a technology that I think is so cool, and I'm very happy that you guys are going to be introducing it, because right now it's other third-party services, but the advantage of having Wirecast Restream is it's going to work tremendously easy and rock solid with Wirecast, and I like as few potential points of failure as possible anytime I'm live streaming. So tell us about Restream a little bit.
Yeah, so this is a really, obviously, almost critical to anybody who needs to multi-stream today. If you want to stream your stream to more than one place at a time, that puts a ton of load on your local machine or on your local bandwidth connection. So being able to distribute a stream to multiple platforms at the same time, I think, is really critical, and the cloud is perfect for this. So we built this Restream technology right into Wirecast. So what we do is, again, back to that Telestream cloud account. If you have a free account, then inside of Wirecast, you can now check a box that you'll see under any destinations you add. If you add Facebook, if you add YouTube, if you add Twitch, Periscope, or just generic RTMP servers, Wowza, whatever you want to do, you can check a box that says enable Restream. And then now, instead of your local machine sending an individual, bandwidth, heavy stream to that, it will now be taken care of from Telestream Cloud. And that handoff happens seamlessly in the background. Wirecast communicates all the information that those platforms need from your logins and your credentials inside Wirecast. So you're not having to go to a browser, you're not having to go to a third-party system and remember all your passwords or enter them or set all that up ahead of time. You never have to leave the Wirecast interface, and you can just treat it like you've always used Wirecast, which is, the multi-destination. So it's super, super convenient.
That's the thing about this, where this technology is going, that I think is so important. I'm going to go back a year ago when we started doing these shows. We would have to hand cut and paste 5 or 6 keys to get everything going to the different sites, even when we had the bandwidth. And the problem was sometimes your key would be too late and the key would change. Now this all gets taken care of by the Telestream cloud up there, which the cloud is just the name for a really big computer that's someplace not where you are. But it's very exciting that technology is going to happen, because also that means if Facebook or Twitter or Twitch does something that screws up the API, I don't have to worry about it. You guys are fixing that in the cloud for me. All I have to do is get up to the cloud. You're going to take care of all that heavy lifting that has to happen to make sure everything still works together properly. So super cool. Great job on that. Now, you mentioned the term platform before, so we're going to switch gears now, and we're going to talk about not cloud versus studio platform. We're going to talk about the different platforms that Wirecast works with, because one of the things I think people don't, well, it's not that they forget, but they don't talk about enough, is that Wirecast works great on a Mac. Now, we look at the MacBook Pro and the iMac as a great solution for streaming, and everyone usually says, but wait, that's a problem because I can't put cards in that, so how do I get the video in? And the answer is the technology has moved forward. We have NDI. So with NDI technology, we can bring in a PTZ camera from PTZ Optics or the new tech PTZ camera, and even Panasonic has some that support NDI. Now all I need is a network connection, and I can see them as sources in my Wirecast. I also have the Connect Sparks from NewTek, which they connect to your camera via either HDMI or SDI, and now it sends it either Wi-Fi or wired to Wirecast. So once again, don't have to worry about any kind of special adapters. In addition, our friends over at Epiphan actually have a 4K HDMI converter, so now you get 4K signals or SDI signals into Wirecast as well. And on a Mac, you don't have to worry about capture cards. So I know a lot of creatives out there are just gritting their teeth saying, I want to get into streaming, but I don't want to get on a PC. And there's other products that are available for the Mac, but I don't think there's anything better than Wirecast. What about you, Andrew? Loaded question.
Yeah, so loaded question, and obviously I'm a little biased here, but what I want to say is that Wirecast has always been a dual platform software. It was before, I think, any other software. It was the first that was on both Mac and Windows. So that's always been a commitment for us. A lot of our developers work on Mac, and of course we have Windows developers as well, but making sure that the tool was, equal for both PC users and Windows and Mac users was really important to us, and will continue to be. So with the Mac kind of being Apple and limiting sort of your inputs and outputs, that has been historically a little bit more of a problem. You might need to use an external chassis sometimes. That was sort of popular and maybe still be a solution for some people. But with the invention of, say, the NDI and network connections and great video available over your Ethernet, it's never been easier to use a Mac and use software like Wirecast to get your video in and out of your system and produce an amazing looking show on your Mac if you know that's your platform of choice. And you know, speaking of, we already talked about sort of NDI and sort of you know, the convenience of over the network video, but I think that relates directly to the esports conversation we had in the pre-show.
Yep.
If you're trying to get all these systems in, all these video systems into your switcher, then NDI is perfect for that, because now you can load it up not only from a NewTek Spark or a Ptz camera and grab the camera sources over NDI, you can also load simple screen capture applications that will capture the screens and bring in NDI over that way. So it's so flexible and multi-purpose, and if you have a Mac, you have full access to it. And so I really encourage you guys to do that.
The Surface I'm using right here is running PowerPoint. That's how we get it on the screen behind me over here, is via NDI. So it's very cool. You know, NDI technology is just going to get better, and you guys are implementing it very well on the Mac, so kudos to you. Wirecast NDI works just as good PC or Mac. It's working great, and just wanted to make sure all you Mac creatives out there know that Wirecast is a great choice for you to look into, and you don't have to worry about hardware limitations, because as you can see, we've got a wide range of products here that can help you get video, HDMI, SDI, and even 4K into your Wirecast. Now I want to spin gears a little bit and talk about one of the coolest products to come out in the last few months, and that's the X-Keys control surface for Wirecast. So this puppy's really nice. I love it. It's pre-programmed for Wirecast keys, plus you can custom program any other keys you want. And I know you guys use this over, I think you told me you guys use this over at your place, so tell us a little about it and how you like it.
Yeah, so I love these controllers. I was kind of skeptical at first, because I was like, well, why would a USB control surface be that interesting? You know, is it you know, we already have keyboard. Those are USB, right? But once we got one in the studio and I started testing it and trying it, I was like, oh man, I don't want to use Wirecast any other way. This thing's amazing. Like, they feel like, not only they're really well designed, like the PMI engineering did such an amazing job just building them. They build it out of real solid materials. The keys have a great feel to them and punch. They've got like almost like an industrial feel, so you don't feel like, you know, they've cheaped out on any of the materials. It feels like it can stand up to a lot of beating, and also the responsiveness over USB is all instantaneous. So you punch a button, it happens right inside Wirecast instantly. And then our product manager did an amazing job laying out the keys to be perfectly reminiscent of how Wirecast works. From the top rows, which handle all of your customs and your outputs, you can hit record and stream, and you can turn on your NDI or turn off your NDI, and then you've got all these layer buttons at the bottom, so you can punch up different combinations, or you can set a single macro that will punch up you know, multiple combinations at the same time of shots. And then you never even have to touch your mouse or your keyboard. You're just working on this thing. It's awesome.
It's like you have two extra hands. You know, it really makes doing a live show that much easier. One of the things that I always loved about Wirecast was the features that I wanted for my show were on the surface. It was easy to use with a mouse and a few clicks, which is great for getting started on Wirecast. There's no software, I think, that's easy to get started on. But when you start making a real complex production, well, then that's where a control surface really opens up your productivity and lets you, as a one-man producer, produce a show where, like we talked about on a Mac or a different thing, you can actually have the camera from your MacBook or your iMac be on you. You could be in the show while you're producing the show. I know a lot of people do that. So it just makes it that much more It's a productivity tool. It's phenomenal. And what's really exciting is we've got some great bundles. First of all, we don't have a price here, so we should have. It's $5.99 is the regular price on the product. But we've got a deal where it's free with a Wirecast Gear 230, or it's half off with a Wirecast 210 or 110. So before we talk about the X-Keys anymore, let's talk about what Wirecast Gear is. We've done some shows on it, but Wirecast Gear really came out of the necessity because so many people were putting together their own Wirecast systems with different parts from different vendors. And the problem is you guys know it because you were there. Your tech support lines were getting lit up from people who weren't really having Wirecast problems. They were having problems with the different capture card they were trying to use, or they were running an older version of Windows, or they had the wrong drivers, or if they were using capture cards from, let's say, Blackmagic, they'd come out with an upgrade to help with their 4K workflows, and they'd crash your HD workflows in Wirecast. So that ability to have a system that's been optimized and tuned for Wirecast, to work with Wirecast, to have flawless integration, and to unlock that you can do very complex programs. Your TV show, your stream could be very complex. You don't have to worry that you're going to bring Wirecast down, which a lot of people with these home kludged together systems would run into. It works great as long as I keep it kind of light, but if I get into a real heavy production, all of a sudden, look out, things start to get a little wonky. Well, first of all, with the latest versions of Wirecast, that's not so much a case anymore. It's just become more CPU and GPU efficient, but still, having a box that 4 HDMI inputs for under $5,000, which is the Wirecast Gear 110 is, it's just a tremendous value. And I really think that, especially for schools or churches who want to get into this, who have to basically run the equipment and maintain the equipment themselves, where you're not just the guy who's going to do this for yourself, but you're actually, you know, someone in a department that's got to do it, I think Gear is a great choice. And why don't you tell me about what you like best about Gear?
Yeah, like you mentioned, one of the strengths of Wirecast is it's flexible and you can put it on just about any platform or machine, but that leads to problems if you don't know what you're doing or you spec'd out the wrong machine. And so putting Wirecast Gear out there just solved so many problems. The other thing is that it took away the kind of the questions that a lot of customers had who didn't want to necessarily be their own computer shoppers, their own capture card sourcers. They didn't want to figure out what they needed. They just wanted to buy an all-in-one system. So it was clear to us that we were missing an all-in-one, one-stop shop system that would run Wirecast extremely well, that we knew from the ground up and every single nut, bolt, part, you know, where everything was, and that our team had tested. So I love the fact that our QA team uses Wirecast gears in their testing departments for testing all the new features and systems in Wirecast. They're constantly running tests on Wirecast gear. So it makes it great to have a standard system that everybody knows and can agree on and that we can support fully from the ground up. If you were to call in with your old sort of Dell computer and your kind of kludgy graphics card from 5 years ago, there may be a limit to how much our team can help you because we either don't have those parts in-house or we may not be able to replicate the system that you've created on Wirecast. But if you call in with a gear issue, we know exactly, we have one sitting right in front of us, so we can help you. So we never want Wirecast to be a closed system. We're not trying to be, say a TriCaster or anything like that. But we definitely want to get some of the advantages of having a standard set of hardware that we can all, help you with. And then for those customers who need an all-in-one shop, then the Wirecast gear is a perfect solution. You just buy one, it's supported.
It's optimized. And that's a big deal. It's optimized, and when they're developing the software, they make sure the software works great on Gear. So right out of the bat, you're going to have a great product that works. If you want to be a beta tester, being on Gear, you're going to have a lot better results than being on your own hardware. We're big fans of the Gear. It's a great product. Like I said, starting at under $5,000 at $49.95 makes it a great program. Andrew, I want to thank you. This thing went almost 30 minutes with you, and I got to thank you because I think it's one of the more engaging shows we did, not just because of the new layout and the production team did a great job, but I think we covered a lot of cool, great areas. So I want to thank you so much for coming on for the show, and a little sneak peek. Andrew's going to be back hopefully maybe in September because we are working with the folks at Wirecast to come up with some special bundles that would include things like Ptz cameras and gear and an X keys and some other goodies and stuff. So we're working on fine-tuning that because we want to get some audio components in there as well, because we know that's one of the biggest questions people who do streaming have is, what's my best way to bring in multiple audio sources and stuff like that. So that's going to be a future show, and we're going to bring Andrew back, but I want you to know that sneak peek. Andrew, thank you so much. Why don't you say goodbye to our friends who are watching the show?
I want to say thanks to having me, and thanks to everybody else who's watching. If you have questions, just reach out to us at Telestream or at, I'm sure Gary's team, the whole team at Broadfield's amazing. They know everything about our product, so we can always work together.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now, Video Guys Newsday Tuesday. You give us 20 minutes. Today we needed 30 minutes because we had such a good show, and we're going to tell you about all the stuff we sell. Our August calendar is very full and very exciting, but the big news with August is we're hoping to do similar productions like we did today with live guests from our vendors. So we don't know when we're going to do it, but the three big topics we're going to cover this August: Avid Media Central editorial management. We're super excited about that. Get a Nexus Pro, get the Avid Media Central editorial on it. Bunch of users collaborating, getting the most out of their products, taking their productivity to a whole nother level. NDI, there's been a ton of NDI developments, not just from NewTek and Wirecast, but people like BirdDog, Panasonic, and other people in the NDI world. So we want to do an NDI update, what's new with NDI, what's coming there. And we hope to have a very special guest from NewTek on that show. And then we're also going to do a show about the Matrox Monarch family of products in the LCS, because we've seen a lot of very cool deployments of the LCS in educational lecture center situations where we've got people deploying, universities deploying 10, 15, 20, even up to 50 units that are being controlled by third-party control systems like Crestron or other things, and Matrox has written their own. So we want to bring a guest in from Matrox to tell you about that as well. So some very exciting shows coming in August. I can't promise you what they're going to be on any given day, but I can promise you Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, Video Guys, Newsday Tuesday. You give us 15 to 30 minutes, we're going to tell you about all the products we sell. I thank you very much. Today's show was about Telestream Wirecast 10. If you have any questions, Jorge, you had some questions out there, other people have questions about the products we sell, give us a call at 800-323-2325. We have live people here on the phones. Eddie, Christine, they're producing the show. They can help you learn how to produce your own videos. Give them a call, send them an email, let them know what you need. We'll help spec it out. We'll get you the right goods to meet your budget and your expectations. We'll give you tech tips along the way. Pre-sales and post-sales, that's what separates us from just other bigbox.coms out there. This is Gary from Videoguys.com. Peace.
Video Guys is available Monday through Friday. Give us a call at 1-800-323-2325. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter to stay connected with all of our updates. And you can like us on Facebook. Keep an eye out for our live videos. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.